What's up everyone, how's it going? This is Watch, and in this video we'll be doing a direct comparison between a last generation's MacBook Pro versus this year's 2015 version of the MacBook Pro. So if you're interested in perhaps what the upgrades are to the Pro lineup of MacBook computers, this is a perfect video for you. There are some subtle differences internally, even though externally they're pretty much identical computers, and we'll be talking about some of those differences in depth in this video. So if you're interested in perhaps upgrading to the new MacBook Pro, or perhaps you're just interested in seeing whether you want to go for the 2014 version, perhaps in the used market and save a little bit of money, or you want to go for the brand new MacBook Pro. In either case, this is a perfect video for you. So without any other delays, let's get right into this. Now, as you probably already know, the 2014 versus the 2015 version of the MacBook Pro Retina Edition are practically clones of each other. They have the exact same dimension, design, and ports and connectivity options. Now, opening up the 2015 version of the MacBook Pro Retina, you come across the brand new force detection trackpad, which is completely redesigned from last year's trackpad on the MacBook Pro. Now, what makes the new trackpad different from the previous version is that it is pressure sensitive now, and they've eliminated the mechanical hinge system or the mechanical springs that you would find on a conventional trackpad. Now, what that means is you no longer have a physical click function on the trackpad. In fact, underneath the trackpad, you have an electromagnetic motor which actually sends you small vibrations indicating that you've actually depressed the trackpad, and it gives you a very convincing sensation that you physically click down on the trackpad even though the trackpad hasn't moved itself. Now, another upgrade of the 2015 version of the MacBook Pro is certainly the internal specs. Basically, we're using the new 5th generation Broadwell based Intel Core i5 and Core i7 CPUs on the new model versus last generation used Haswell based CPUs, and essentially what the new processors are going to deliver is a better overall power efficiency with a higher overall clock speed. So you're looking at about 2.7 gigahertz on the new Core i5 5257 versus 2.6 gigahertz on the older generation Core i5 4278 processor. Furthermore, with the new processor, we also have a new graphics. So you're looking at Intel 6100 series graphics on the new processor versus the last year's version used Intel 5200 series graphics. Additionally, we also have faster RAM capabilities on the new computer. Basically, we both have 8 gigabytes of DDR3, but it's clocked in about 1867 megahertz on the 2015 version versus about 1600 megahertz on last year's version. So in terms of the multitasking performance, you're going to find maybe 2 to 3% faster processing times based on that faster frequency. Now, just to evaluate the differences between these two internally, we're going to take a look at some of our benchmark results. And the first thing that we're going to take a look at is the Geekbench 3 results, which is going to test both our CPU and RAM configuration. And you can see on the multi-core score, we got a higher score of over 6,200 points on the 2015 version and just under 3,000 points on the single thread score. And that's just a couple of points higher than what we come across on the 2014 version of the MacBook Pro Retina Edition. Next, we're going to move on to the Cinebench R15 benchmark, which is again going to test our CPU. And looking at the results over here, again, slightly faster score on the new model, getting about 311 points versus 279 points. Now, probably one of the most substantial internal upgrades is the brand new PCIe memory-based system, which is very similar to last generation's, but now it runs at 4x instead of 2x, so you have a much higher throughput, up to 1.6 gigabytes per second. And based on this Blackmagic speed test, you can see that there is quite a big difference in terms of both the read and write speeds. Certainly in terms of read speeds, we're getting close to 1.3 gigabytes per second and over 650 megabytes per second in terms of the write, and that's both faster than the read and write performance on last year's version of the MacBook Pro. Now, in terms of impacting your real day-to-day tasks, the upgraded flash memory is not going to change your life too much unless you're transferring a huge amount of data back and forth. Now, in terms of the graphical horsepower on the new 2015 version, we're going to use our Heaven benchmark and set the resolution to 1440 by 900, medium quality settings, no anti-aliasing, and basically the final score is about 18.5 frames per second on average and about 17.6 frames per second average on the 2014 version. So just a minor difference between the two in terms of the graphical capabilities. Both computers are perfectly fine for playing different casual games at kind of moderate resolutions, but definitely don't count on playing any game at that full 2560 by 1600 native resolution, because you'll probably not even get into the double digits on most contemporary games. So as long as you keep the resolution low on both computers, you should be fine in terms of gaming performance. The last thing I will talk about is the overall battery performance. Now, what Apple has done is they've essentially added a slightly larger battery, so the capacity has gone up from 71.8 watt hours to 74.9 watt hours on the new MacBook Pro, and what that essentially allows is about somewhere between an hour or so more on the new model. Now, as you guys probably know, battery performance is extremely dependent upon how you use your device. If you're doing any kind of CPU or GPU intensive applications, your battery life is obviously going to suffer. But in my case, I tested both computers for about 7 days, and I was both using them with a similar behavior in terms of light web browsing, about 50% of the maximum screen brightness. Bluetooth was off. I did a little bit of light video streaming here and there for around 45 minutes to 2 hours on one single charge. And after about a week, I got an average battery score of about 10 hours 38 minutes on the 2015 version and about 10 hours 2 minutes on the 2014 version. So you can definitely see that they've certainly improved the battery life by adding a little bit more capacity and updating the internals to be more power efficient. But on that, guys, that's really it. Even though physically, as we mentioned, they're pretty much identical in every way, with the new trackpad and the faster SSD system and the slightly upgraded CPU performance, there are some little benefits that the new 2015 MacBook Pro presents compared to last generation's model. But by no means is it a game changer. If you have an older generation 2014 version of the MacBook Pro, I would definitely not recommend selling it and jumping over to the 2015 unless you really want to try that trackpad out. And if you do, just go to the Apple Store and see how you like it. In most cases, you're looking at a very, very similar computer. The real radical change will be that new MacBook that hopefully we're going to get in a couple of weeks from now. We'll do a full-on comparison between that computer and the Pro over here. So make sure you're subscribed to our channel for all of those latest videos and comparisons and things like that. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you later. Take care.